Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. I am one of your generals and host, Jimmy Good. And joining me, as always, is my go-to podcast compadre, my other general and guy who's fixing his mic right now, Mr. Joe Lever. Joe, how's it going, pal?
It's going pretty good. How are you doing, pal? I was
Good.
not fixing my mic. That was a fly. A fly landed on the mic, and so if there was a disruption in the video feed, I apologize for Jimmy's intro there. But
no, that's fine. No, it was just funny because
it was
like
a big old fly. It had to be dealt with.
Well, people who know the show very well, Joe, know that it was going to be you. But for some people who don't know you, it's like I was introducing you on stage, and you kind of like walked out, you popped your head out, and then you like tucked it back in. And then you come out, you're like, "Hi, everyone." And it's like, "Oh, thanks." No,
yeah, I don't always do things on cue.
No, it's okay. It makes it more fun, and I think it keeps people on their toes. It keeps me on my toes. I know that's for sure.
Yeah, you don't have any Cadbury eggs to eat when I interrupt you this time, do you?
I know, that's right. I'm going to have to open up the Sour Patch for the Sprees.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Jimmy Good, Jimmy Good.
Hopefully we won't have to have that problem this week. Anyway.
So as you were saying, no, I'm just kidding.
Thank you to everybody who's showing up here today, and for anybody who is new and joining us for the very first time, welcome. If you are wanting to know what the show is all about, we talk about movies, TV shows, games, all the things, our favorite hobbies that kind of infiltrate our minds on a daily basis, and we want to talk about them. So let's start off, yes, with some news here, because I like to try to keep this as topical as I possibly can. But first off, we got some casting news, some rumors, I should say, about the Lion King remake that's being directed by Jon Favreau, who's done, I think he did Iron Man 1 and 2, and then he also just did, Jungle Book. So we kind of know that he is capable of doing like a almost fully animated animal live action kind of film. But Joe, Timon and Pumbaa, pretty big deal here, and we have Billy Eichner from Parks and Rec. You guys might know him. He kind of was he's like a taller guy, likes to scream a lot, as Timon, and then Seth Rogen as Pumbaa. Joe, I got to know, how do you feel about this, man? It's interesting casting for sure.
Sure. I think Seth Rogen will make a good Pumbaa. I think that's a good fit. Billy Eichner, I recognize the name. I have no clue. I can't picture his voice or anything.
It's pretty distinct. It's kind of shrill, and he likes to kind of yell a lot. So maybe that's a good thing for Timon. I just always think of the one and only Nathan Lane who's done it, and it's kind of unfortunate that they don't just kind of, not that they need to have everything be the same, but that and like Matthew Broderick and all these people, for the most part, could come back and reprise these roles. And I just wonder what that would be like. That's all I'm saying. They don't have to do that, and they won't, and that's fine. But
I think Rob Schneider should play Timon.
Oh my God, Joe, you get out of here! I'm just kidding. Why? Are you serious?
Yeah.
I can't tell. Right? He's like,
if the glove fits.
I don't know. I assume he's doing like a Grown Ups 5 with Adam Sandler right now, or something. They're probably off in Costa Rica, just kind of screwing around. Just like, I don't know, whatever. But you're right. Maybe Seth Rogen would make a good Pumbaa. I was trying to rack my brain for who would do that. The problem is we've only ever had, this incarnation in a film. Obviously there's the stage portrayals and things like that, so it's okay if they switch it up. But Seth Rogen I feel a little more confident about as opposed to Billy Eichner. But Disney isn't going to pick somebody that's bad. There's been casting calls in the past with these films that we love so much, these adaptations or these reimaginings, where we're kind of like, I don't know if you should do that. But so far there hasn't really been one that comes to my mind as being really like controversial, like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't have done that. So, the one also that I heard recently too, Joe, is that they've been in talks potentially with Will Smith to be the voice of the genie in Aladdin. How do you feel about that?
Ooh. Yeah, I don't know. It could be cool.
Rapping genie. He's just gonna rap a lot.
When Will Smith rapped, I thought he was good and entertaining. No, I'm trying to look at it from like a voice perspective. Robin Williams, man. Oof. Can you beat that genie?
I think that's the thing. They're not going to try to have like an impersonator or somebody that's similar to that. I think they'll just try to pick someone who's charismatic and well known in Hollywood, as opposed to going for the likeness. So, because it's just impossible. You can't have another guy come and do a bunch of voices and people be like, it's just not the same. You know, I don't know. Will Smith is an interesting choice. Also a very, very, very expensive choice. Not that they turn a loss on any of these, like, not reboots, but these faithful reimaginings or whatnot. But I was thinking, I don't know, man. Is Genie good, or is Will Smith a good Genie? Could he be a good Genie?
Yeah, Will Smith can. I think he can bring a liveliness to it that would be appealing and fitting for the Genie. Or are they going to go for a totally different vibe? Not so goofy, funny.
Well, I think they're still going to go for. I honestly don't know, but I would assume they would, because that's kind of Genie's role in the whole thing. The question
Will
is,
Smith can do it. I mean, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, a perfect example. That's
sure,
real life acting, but
he hasn't done anything fun. Like, he's tried to do fun things recently, and it's just not been. I'm looking at Deadshot.
Deadshot?
Kind of. I don't know. Not that he's supposed to be fun in that movie.
It was supposed to be fun.
The last time, Joe, remember when we saw that movie with him and Margot Robbie where they were like thieves?
Hey, just saying that was actually kind of a good movie, although I can't remember the name.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. It's just that we haven't seen Will Smith have fun and be funny like that in a long time. I don't know. If Never Had a Friend Like Me turns into a rap, I'm gonna be sad. That's all I'm just gonna say.
Yeah. But what was that movie like? Or what was the name of that movie with Will Smith and Margot Robbie? Like The Take or something? They like The Con? Or
I just remember thinking, oh, he's gonna be Deadshot, she's gonna be Harley, and like this is the movie before that movie. So I was like, I remember seeing that in theaters with you. I was like, oh, we saw it. It wasn't that bad. It was fine. Just about people. Focus. You gotta have focus.
15. I mean, it was 2 years ago, Jimmy, so it's all right if we kind of forgot it. It's not like a giant blockbuster, but it was quality film. I thought it was pretty good. It was kind of throwing you for curves here and there, and very intellectual. I thought you had to think about it a little bit and understand the process and what was happening.
Yeah, that's true.
I like movies like that.
You know, one kind of getting back to Genie, though, one person I thought of who's actually had some pretty extensive voice acting work and has already voiced someone in a Disney film before that could potentially do it. I don't know how his singing would be, but is John Goodman. I don't know if he has as much of a jovial spirit, but I feel like he could really get a lot. You could get a lot out of John for that role in particular. I think it could be pretty cool, but they've already they have Will. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But that is an interesting and a different take. And maybe they're trying to just, like I said, get away from being like compared directly to Robin Williams, because they'll say like, oh, Will Smith's nothing like Robin Williams. We can't compare the two. They're just, and like the stage performance is different too. Like, so yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But Aladdin, I don't know. I'm excited for that movie more so than The Lion King. I think I don't know how they're going to do that. That's going to be a fascinating film, Joe. Wouldn't you say?
I think so. Yeah, I love the movie Aladdin when I was growing up. The Jafar guy scared the crap out of me, but I loved it.
He's just really dumb, and I probably talked about this before on here. But okay, if your first wish is to be Sultan, why don't you just skip to the best sorcerer in the world or whatever, and just stay there? That's your first wish. Don't go to Genie, because honestly, right now I don't really know what the Genie can do that the world's greatest sorcerer can't do. It's like, why you gotta? And he's been researching the Genie for years, Joe, and he doesn't know about the whole shackle thing. It's like, come on, man. Oh, man. Bums me out. Anyway, Jafar. What a creep. Also, he is one of the two scariest villains in my book, because he can turn into an old, terrifying person, just like the wicked queen back in Snow White. Anybody who turns into a creepy old person to scare the protagonist into working with them every time gets me. Oh, God. He's a creepy old man in a prison. No thanks, man. Get that janky guy out of here. Yeah, I wonder if they'll do the creepy old Jafar. Joe, do you think they'll do creepy old Jafar man with like Aladdin in prison? Do you think they'll do that?
Yeah, why not? I think Jafar's got to be a part of it somehow or another.
Do you get Andy Serkis to do the motion capture for creepy old man Jafar and have someone else do like actual Jafar? And they're like, all right, Andy, like get this like this costume and he's like, creeping around.
You need somebody like Andy Serkis, but somebody.
Well, they already got Will Smith. They're burning money, Joe. Disney doesn't care. They're just like, get everybody. Get everybody in here. We're gonna have Kurt Russell be Aladdin. That'd be a very weird choice. That's a joke, everybody. People are like, wait a sec, this guy's crazy. Anyway, speaking about Star Wars, Joe, flawless transition. Star Wars Episode 9 and Indiana Jones 5, or as they say in Mexico, Indiana Jones de Cinco, have both gotten release dates. Now, here's the interesting thing, Joe. Indiana Jones, let's talk about Indy first. July 10th, 2020. So we're looking like 3 years out right now, about. So that means they're probably going to get into it pretty soon here, and that's with both Harrison Ford returning as Indiana Jones and Steven Spielberg returning to direct.
What?
Yeah, that's what's happening. That was kind of like I don't know if it was an unofficial thing or like a rumor that the only reason he came back, Harrison Ford, to do Force Awakens is that it gave him an in, and he said, I'll do this as long as you give me another crack at Indiana Jones. Because he said I think he wants to go out on a high note with Indy, because I think he cares about that character more than Han Solo, which I agree. I think Indy's a cooler character, personally.
I agree too. Yeah, I can understand why, but
I just don't know, like, what do you do with him? Like, not that he's pretty old, though. I think he's in his 70s now, but...
yeah, what's he gonna... Is he going to outrun a boulder through a tunnel?
Yeah. Do you think that they'll try to do kind of a flashback thing? Maybe that's kind of what I'm surmising with the whole Han Solo film.
No, he's gonna discover a young new protege. Shia LaBeouf is gonna show up.
No, dude, Shia's out, like hard out. They can't. Disney won't do it. I truly believe that they will not do that. Shia is too much of a loose cannon. They loved him when he was even Stevensed up, but he ruined it. Like,
no, I mean I get it, but I feel like somehow that equation might enter into things, or that might enter into the equation. Sorry, what am I saying? Somebody is going to be under his direction, or he's going to be some sort of advisor, something of that nature. He's not going to be out running people and shooting freaking Aborigines with a machine gun on the back of a Jeep.
Joe, what if I just had this thought? What if this is the big play to do the de-aging thing perfectly? They'll say, guess what, guys? In this film, we are going to give you a Harrison Ford from the 1980s, and we're going to have it be perfect, and we're going to have stunt doubles and stuff that look just like him. So it's all this stuff, but it's a de-aged Indy throughout the entire thing. We're bringing Nazis back. We're bringing back religious artifacts, and they do it all back in the day.
Back in the day would be pretty cool.
I just think that's better because, like, right now, I don't want to watch
Indiana Jones. I don't want it to be like him running around with his laptop and hacking stuff. And
Indy would never hack. If he's hacking stuff, no, he would be much too. He couldn't, because the last one took place in the 60s, and he was kind of pretty old then, so he would be probably dead. He'd be dead if it was like modern day. It's like modern day Indiana Jones. He's like, I got a whip.
It's gonna be CGI. It's gonna be a Indiana Jones skeleton running around.
I'm calling it right now, man. It's going to be de-aging. They're going to say it's de-aging, and he's going to do all the acting himself, but all the other stuff will be stunt doubles and lookalikes, and they'll have a crazy cool indie film back in the 1940s or late 30s, early 40s. That's what I'm guessing.
That's something, man. That's something.
Because they can't bring Shia in. They probably won't even bring Marion back because nobody wants to remember Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, so they will not probably talk about that, because if they do a direct sequel to that, I don't even know what they tackle. Like the 70s, he's gonna be fighting hippies. Like,
yeah, I don't know what was the deal with the Crystal Skull. Who's the brain behind that one?
Do you mean like the person in real life who decided that, or like who were the bad guys?
Real life, both.
Oh, real life.
Yeah, who's the director? Who's the
Spielberg,
writer?
Really? I don't know if he wrote it, but I think
what the hell's the matter with you, man?
We need to fact check.
Just because you hit a freaking home run with Jurassic Park doesn't mean you can do whatever the hell you want.
It's the only one that Joe and I know. Like, we know that Steven Spielberg has directed like a great many wonderful films, but for us, it's mostly just Jurassic Park.
Super 8.
He didn't. I don't think he directed that one. I think was that JJ?
Oh, really? Or did he produce or something? Maybe.
I think he was a part of that somehow. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yep, Steven Spielberg was for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Also, Saving Private Ryan. I just have to bring that up quick. One of the greats. Like, I can't believe Dunkirk. Side note: Christopher Nolan, what are you doing? Where are your cool, crazy things? Because, Shyamalan's got the stupid twists, and he always has, like, some device in his movies that makes no sense. Inception, Dream Machine thing. Dark Knight Rises, the autopilot. And now this one, I'm not seeing, where's my hook, man? Where's the... That was the last one was a joke again. It's not a joke if you have to explain it, Jim. Anyway, but yes, so he's coming back for number 5. I just don't know what you do in the 70s. If you go to the 70s, he was like too old for the last one. I just watched it recently just to kind of refresh my memory, and it's just too over the top, and there's too much CGI, and it doesn't work. They need to go back to basics, and to do that, you're gonna have to get a lot of stunt doubles. You got to have like the punches and stuff feel more real, like they used to, even with the sound effects, like which they had in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It was just weird, but flawless. I don't hear a difference. But anyway, Joe. So
I hit a guy one day just to hear that sound, and I didn't hear that sound. I was really let down.
Oh, anyway, the bad guys in that one were like cosmonauts, or not that. They're Russians. They're KGB, I should say. That's what they were. And so they're like infiltrating. They wanted to get the main person, Kate Blanchett, wanted to get the power of these aliens and learn all the knowledge in the world, and then her head exploded. Yep, I don't remember that because I didn't care. All I'm saying is this. You only need 2 things with Indiana Jones. Nazis and religious artifacts. The 2 best Indiana Jones films, and I will stand by this because I just rewatched them. Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. Temple of Doom, not that great. All right? I'm sorry. There's some cool sets and stuff, but a lot of that movie is just trying to gross people out, and it's real weird.
Is that the one with Kalima?
Yes.
Kalima!
I love how everyone remembers Kalima. Like, Spielberg taught us, like, some cult thing how to rip people's hearts out.
Well, because everybody jokes about it. Family Guy, there's other ones, but...
I'm sure Simpsons and stuff have too. But anyway, yeah, I don't know, Joe. I just think that personally, this would be the shot that they take it, doing like a crazy de-aging thing, because you can't have Harrison Ford running around like he got attacked by the Millennium Falcon. You heard about that? Like a door shut and like crushed his leg. It's like
seriously?
Yeah, it was pretty rough. They had to like halt production for a bit, I think.
Wow, and whoever built the mock-up of the Millennium Falcon door and all that, they fired him pretty quick.
All I could think is in that trailer when in The Force Awakens, like the first one where he's like, "It's good to be home, Chewie," or he's like, "Chewie, we're home." I like to think right after that he walked out and the door just like came down on it. Yeah. There's like no more. Laugh, right? I'm sorry, Harrison. I know you're a fan of the show, and I want to see more Indiana Jones. I want this to be the redeeming movie. I'm not sure if that's. I'm nervous, man. But anyway. 2020, 3 years out, Joe. Do you have any investment in Indiana Jones?
Yeah. You know why? I have a good memory of Indiana Jones when I went to Disney World. I remember seeing the big live action play that they put on in the big
stunt show. Yeah, stunt show, sick. Oh, the first time, it's good. It's great.
Come on. Real life movie in the making right there. It was awesome.
True. Yeah, those guys are really good. You think like they ever get excited about their job anymore? They're like, "Yep, I just fall off the building now. I do this 3 times a day."
Yeah. Or the guy who plays Indiana Jones, I gotta lasso my whip onto that. I gotta go from here to there. I gotta do this. I gotta get in the plane. I gotta start the plane. I gotta move the plane. I gotta chop this guy up with the propeller. And then I don't know. It was cool though. A lot. I don't know. I've seen bits and pieces of the older movies here and there. I don't think I've ever watched any of them all the way through, unfortunately. But I did. Well, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull one I saw, and
oh, Joe, that makes me so sad. Like,
yeah,
for some reason that makes me more sad than you not seeing like all this, like a Star Wars all the way through, like Indiana Jones, just because like it's just like such a good movie. Like,
yeah, well, I've seen enough of them. Enough pieces to know that they're good, and they're more enticing to me because of the era, the settings, the plots behind them. I like the whole like that movie or not, Crystal Skull one, KGB being involved and stuff. I mean, kind of cool. I like that whole thing. You know, it's kind of like retro, World at War, spy type stuff.
Yeah. The Cold War stuff in the beginning is funny. They're driving through like like the Red Scare protesters, and like a bunch of people are freaking out about it, and like Indy's trying to outrun KGB agents in a car like through this rally. So it's kind of funny. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but no, you know, I'm interested to see what they do here. As soon as we see some like information teased on it, a trailer would be amazing. Yeah, we'll see what the hype meter's at, but you know, I'm excited for it. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, fun note, jumping back to the stunt show, a really cool thing is that they would bring people out of the crowd to be extras, and they would have like a bunch of people, and they'd be like, all right, here's what you're going to do. And they'd always bring out a ringer or somebody, a plant in the crowd. So they would always have like a dude who's wearing like a pretty flamboyant, like pink, like flowery shirt sitting somewhere in the crowd. And this person was one of their stunt people. And he would go down there, and they would do like this whole joke thing where like the person would like be like, all right, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And can you take a punch? And the guy's like, and so she'd like punch the dude out, and he would like flop backwards and stuff like that. And it was kind of like, oh, you know, he's in on the thing. What I always wanted to do was wear a very similar shirt and try to find that guy and sit right next to him and then try to run down there. So they're like, I don't think that's not Frank. And I'd be like, here I am. It's
something.
It's really cool. If you guys ever get the chance, if you really want to look it up on YouTube, just look in like Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. Pretty cool. I also wish they'd just bring the Indiana Jones ride, Temple of the Forbidden Eye, to Disney World. That's a whole other thing. Anyway, hopefully Indy's going to be good. Spielberg, please. Maybe it's his odd numbers are better, Joe. Maybe that's what it is. You know? He doesn't do a good sequel. Look at Lost World. Look at Temple of Doom. That's all I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying. I don't think he directed JP3. No. Still actually like that movie. People give it a hard time, but I don't know.
It's okay. The Spinosaurus thing, when the Spinosaurus kills the T-Rex, my night was ruined.
I don't know. I get why they did it. And also the Spinosaurus I thought was kind of cooler because it could like swim and stuff, and it was an intimidating thing. It was always around, but it was
a lot more intimidating just because of its like, you know, its arms and its mobility, and you know, with the water and all that. The T-Rex dying, I get why they did it too. It's almost like to create that more, this is the king now, and it's more ominous and that sort of thing, and it's bigger. Okay. The pterodactyl scene, or the not pterodactyl,
Pteranodon. Yeah, very good. I'm so proud.
That one doesn't that just give you the heebie-jeebies when they're in the fog? All of a sudden, you see that thing come through the mist on the bridge. I was like, holy shit, what are they going to do now?
One of my favorite shots in all of Jurassic Park is one that's looking this way, and it like turns and looks at the camera with like, it's really, you know, it's pointed beak, and you're like, oh, this, like, they made these things like legitimately terrifying. You're like, oh my gosh. Like,
yeah, they took something that normally isn't and made it really ominous. And
that's good.
Let me just tell you, that's one thing that Jurassic World did wrong.
Yeah. They did have the Velociraptor scene in the valley, though, which was kind of cool. You see, like, all the trails leading right up to, like, the tall grass, and you're like, oh, okay. All right. Plus, the third act is, like, you don't need it. But 2 T-Rexes, not better than 1. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Don't do 2.
No, the Lost World is okay. The Lost World, I don't have huge problems with.
Oh, did you say Jurassic World?
It's all right. I'm talking about the most recent Jurassic World. The flying dinosaurs were really stupid. I thought they were stupid as all get out.
Yeah. They just kind of shot them, like with tranks.
Yeah, that one just seemed a little too hokey for me. You know, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World even, and Jurassic Park 3, but especially Jurassic Park, the OG, were much more geared toward adults, even though, you know, the teenagers find it, well, I shouldn't say that, but it was equally as entertaining for adults. I'll say that. It was geared more towards a teenage, early 20s group, but adults as well enjoyed it. I mean, it was pretty terrifying. I feel like they did the dinosaurs justice. It wasn't hokey. It was predatory hunting at its finest, and just gets your blood pumping.
Maybe the problem with Jurassic World, Joe, is that it feels like a 1980s version of Jurassic Park, where it's all like explosions and like let's ride motorcycles and do all this stuff. Where like Jurassic Park isn't really supposed to be a big action film. There are action pieces for sure, but it's not like let's blow this up and have this stuff explode and do all this cool stuff. It's like
no, it was very realistic in that it's probably how things would kind of go if just some average people with some paleontology experience went to a park and things went wrong.
Sure. Yeah, there's the only thing is like the T-Rex just becomes a hero. It's just like he's like, well, I'll kill those raptors for you, pal. He's like, don't worry about it. I'm here.
Okay, we laugh at it now, but during the movie it's like,
it
could happen. The thing busts in there and
where does it come in?
The raptors attack it because they just do to defend themselves or a territorial thing, whatever. And it just works out. It's just convenient that the T-Rex shows up. It's not actually there to say, don't worry, guys, I'll save you. It's there to say, hey, I heard something in here. I'm going to eat it.
It must have snuck in through some scaffolding because I know they're still doing construction on that portion. But one thing I would have loved at the end of Jurassic World is like the T-Rex and the Velociraptor Blue kind of do like a nod almost to each other, like good work. It'd be great because it's the same T-Rexes from the original Jurassic Park. It was like, no, I don't trust Velociraptor, so it just like destroyed it right there, like thrown it across like into the pool with the
yeah, no kidding. It's hard to believe that that's the one too, huh?
Yeah,
but. That movie just seemed to gear itself more towards the young kids who had maybe never even seen the first three, or the first Jurassic Park, and here they are being exposed to this one, and it's all the technological crazy stuff, and then they do stupid stuff like that, like the dinosaurs nodding at each other.
Yeah,
like good job, thanks.
Yeah, well, it's also
or training velociraptors to run around while you're on a motorcycle right next to them.
Yeah,
stupid. Chris Pratt, go die in a hole.
Chris, we know you're a fan of the show. We know you're watching. We don't mean it. It doesn't really ask philosophical questions like the first one does. I kind of forgot about that, but one of the things I love about that is they kind of do like roundtable discussions about. You never asked yourself if we could do it. You never asked. The problem is you didn't ask yourself why we should do it or why we shouldn't do it. And John Hammond was kind of like, oh, like, what the heck? Like, and it's fun to see how like the lawyer changes from like, this is going to be a problem to he's like, we're going to make freaking bank on this thing and all that stuff. And then you have like, Sam Neill, Alan Grant just kind of say like, we should think about this. It's kind of a big deal. We have no idea what bringing these two groups together that have never been together, separated by 65 million years, what they're going to do when they interact. Even though for some odd reason he knew about Velociraptor tactics and patterns when Muldoon didn't. Anyway, it's okay. In the book, Muldoon's much better. Jurassic World, Jurassic Park. We always talk about these, Joe. I don't know. We love them. We love these films.
I wish Muldoon didn't die and like he showed up he was instead of Chris Pratt. Yeah, Muldoon.
Like a really old Muldoon. Like he's like, I don't know how much they paid me to get me back on this freaking. Like he's like, I'd kill all these things if I had the chance.
Clever girl.
The other piece of news, talking about release dates, Star Wars Episode 9. Now, Joe, they're going against my really good recommendation of keeping December being the Star Wars month, but Star Wars Episode 9 is not going to be in December. It's going to be May 24th. 2019. What do you think? He's like, whatever. Just boring freaking Star Wars. Who likes Star Wars? Nobody likes Star Wars.
I honestly don't know. So which one's Episode 8?
Which one's Episode 8?
When's The Last Jedi come out?
This December.
Okay. And then the next Star Wars movie we'll see after that is Episode 9.
Which will be like a year and a half away after that. Do you think May is a good idea? The one thing that's interesting about this, Joe, because I wanted to look this
They'll
up.
just have competition.
The next Avengers is coming out May 3rd. So they're kind of doing the same thing they're doing this year where they have Guardians open up May, and then at the end they're having Pirates. With this, it's going to be Avengers and then Star Wars at the end of this month. So May for Disney is going to be like $2 billion because it's going to be the end of this new trilogy of Star Wars and then like the end of a huge phase for Marvel. Kind of crazy, right? Am I right? That's like a lot.
There's a problem there, though. It's like not a lot of people want to go to the movies 2 weekends in a row.
It's not going to be 2. It's the beginning and the second to last weekend.
I thought you said May 8th and May 3rd.
No, May 3rd and May 24th is when Star Wars.
Okay, that's not too bad because it's already, the Avengers has died down after 3 or 4 weeks. And all right, so that's fine. Wintertime, though, people are looking for stuff to do inside. Going to a movie is a perfect thing for wintertime. So just saying, December is probably a better time to bust out the big movies, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'm not sure exactly where all this other stuff falls right now. I think there's a good chance. I have to double check this, but the next Avatar movies are starting to it's going to be they're going to come the next Avatar and then the one right after that a year later, and then they're going to wait 2 years and then the next 2 are going to come out. So maybe they're trying to avoid an overlap in December if Avatar's coming out in December. I don't know. So, yeah. But I thought it was kind of interesting because I think that's going to be a crazy month for them. Yeah, in a lot of ways, because we're going to see a lot of changes after those 2 movies for both kind of franchises. So, yeah. But still, man, Star Wars and Indiana Jones. Man, Indiana Jones. Okay. Who knows? Could be good. Could be horrible. Anyway. So, Joe, now that we're done with the news, let's get into the big topic of today's discussion. We're going to be talking about summer movies. Now, if you followed the show or watched it for a while, you know that we've talked about a lot of these already. We talked about Spider-Man, talked about Pirates, we talked about Guardians, we've talked about kind of Wonder Woman, touched on that a little bit. But we kind of wanted to highlight a few of the ones that maybe you wouldn't think of right away, kind of more the action-y ones that aren't necessarily superhero or sci-fi, but we might touch on those as well, because we have Alien coming up here pretty shortly. So we pulled up a list here, and we kind of wanted to touch on them. And the first one that came to mind that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention, if anyone saw Fate of the Furious, you probably saw a trailer for this, because I didn't even know it existed before this, but Atomic Blonde, starring Charlize Theron and James McAvoy, kind of this... I don't know, Joe. How would you describe this trailer? It's kind of, or this movie.
Kind of like a more edgy 007, more edgy and realistic / serious 007.
Would you call her more realistic though? She does some pretty unrealistic-y kind of maybe John Wickish type thing.
Well, it's also not laughable. It's not laughable. It is a little more John Wick. I guess that's a better comparison. It's not laughable in the sense that 007 sometimes was. I mean, for crying out loud, one of the older movies, there was an Asian guy that threw a top hat.
Well, yeah, they used to be really campy, and then the Daniel Craig ones were the most gritty, realistic James Bond ones.
Yeah, they took a turn there. Pierce Brosnan ones were okay, but they were also very cheesy and unrealistic at times.
I loved those, man.
That's what I grew up with. Classic. They're classic.
So good. I love it. Give me the corny, and that's what this Daniel Craig one was getting to. This last one is it started to pull in some of those old villains and things, but.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But Atomic Blonde looks really cool. The trailer kind of gets your blood pumping. The music lines up perfectly with the punching and fighting sequences. And it's just got a really edgy vibe to it. It's perfect. Even the poster for it, it's like a neon sign, almost rave looking Atomic, and then Blonde in big bold letters. I think it's cool, man. I really do. As far as what's known thus far, people are already rating it as 76%, 8.1 out of 10. I mean, that's pretty good for most films, especially one of this style. It's not a Marvel big blockbuster that's going to get a 9 out of 10 or whatever. So, I don't know. As we're talking here, I'm just checking out a little bit. I guess you haven't really talked about what you feel about it. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It has an edge to it that kind of, I think James McAvoy's character brings, I should say, a witty edge to it, even though it seems like it's going to be a kind of a knockdown, drag out kind of fighting to it as well. She seems kind of like a spy, assassin-y type of individual who's very, very intelligent, which I always like in a main protagonist because there's too many times that I feel in the past a main protagonist, even in a spy film, isn't very smart, and they have another buddy who's really smart, but she seems to have it all together. She gets how this works, this whole operation. And I don't really know exactly what the story is, but it looks. I was intrigued, and I think Charlize Theron is a perfect person for this type of role. It's kind of like if you think Angelina Jolie and Salt kind of situation.
Sure.
You know, that's what I'm thinking.
Sure.
So kind of a little bit like crazier, more fantastical than that, but just kind of like strong female, like doesn't need anybody else. She'll kill everyone if she has to, kind of thing, and she's kind of unstoppable. And I like it. But James McAvoy kind of playing this. Well, he's been playing a lot of interesting roles lately, but kind of playing this like weird kind of buddy. I think it's not a bad choice, and I'm interested to see what their kind of chemistry is, not romantically, just as partners, or kind of maybe he's an informant. Kind of, that's what it seems like he kind of plays off as. So,
I feel like he brings a little bit of comic relief to it too. I mean, most of her stuff is serious.
Yeah, she's going to be deadpan probably 99% of the film, I'd imagine. Yeah. Do we have a rating on this one, Joe? I don't remember seeing one in theaters. Do we get? It was like not yet rated or something. I'm sure it is by now. Maybe 13.
Yeah, I think it was not yet rated, but I think it's pretty freaking clear it's going to be rated R.
Okay. The thing.
That was a guy with a high heel, for crying out loud.
Well, that's actually not that bad. You know, one of the things I think back to, one of my favorite films of all time, but any of the Lord of the Rings, they're doing beheadings pretty frequently in that one, and those are all PG-13. So it's you can get away with a lot nowadays. To go R, you have to go pretty violence or some nudity or like pretty crazy language. Like you got to.
Yeah. Well, there's a lesbian sex scene. Does that garner an R rating?
I don't know. I think about that sometimes. I don't know if any of our viewers do this or you do it, Joe, but sometimes I think if I worked for that, that rating system, I had to like watch a film, if I would be able to know, like the first like 2 minutes, if I knew it was going to be like what the rating was going to be, because you have to watch the whole thing, be like, okay, why is it rated R, Jimmy? Be like, okay, why is it rated PG?
There's probably a whole list of qualifications, I'm sure.
Yeah, they've gotten more lenient with over the years, but yeah, we'll see. But anyway,
I gotta admit, Jimmy, I think it's probably one of my most hyped movies coming up.
Yeah,
I really do think it looks neat.
Also, another cool thing that you kind of brought up for a second, but just a person from the LGBTQ community, as you will, being an assassin or like a super spy. We haven't really seen that too much. That's becoming more and more prevalent in just every form of medium. One I can think of is Legends of Tomorrow. Sarah Lance, who is Laurel Lance's sister from Arrow, just happens to be a lesbian, but it's like, who cares? They joke about it once in a while, because like a guy will hit on her and she's like, yeah, you're not my type. And they're like, why? She's like, you're not my gender, or like kind of thing. But I think that's kind of cool representation, that it's like that doesn't define her character. It's just a part of who she is. So I don't know. Maybe in the whole movie that will be, but I thought I was like, oh, cool. She's not just like, I will sleep with every man, blah, 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 blah. It's like, nope, she's not going to do that. So
sure. I like how it seems very well choreographed. And I also like that the trailer alludes to a fast pace, edge of your seat, maybe a little bit of sweat under the armpits feeling.
Yeah, sure.
Kind of the vibe I get from it. And McAvoy seems like he's the more, quick-witted commentary through the whole thing. And like you said, 90% of the movie, Charlize Theron's going to be a little more, eyes on the prize sort of a deal, eyes straight ahead, working towards whatever, very serious. So, I'm kind of hyped for it. And I love the trailer. The trailer gets you jazzed. It really does.
For sure. And one thing, too, you're kind of talking about this, but I think the woman that she's kind of interested in, I feel like she was one of the bad guys from Kingsman. I think she was the chick with the legs.
The girl with the legs.
Yeah, which I don't know if we talked about that, but Kingsman 2 got a trailer, which is kind of interesting. We'll probably talk about it more later once we get some more information about it. But kind of a similar vibe to that as far as like maybe the action a little bit, even though Kingsman's a bit more over the top. But kind of
Kingsman is they're trying to reboot 007 in a much, how would you put it? It's got a different vibe to it.
Yeah, kind of fun.
It's got a similar vibe to it, but maybe a little more fun.
Yeah, way more fun. It's going to be, and just like kind of fun. Just like, I don't know. Kingsman, the first one, it's just fun. It's just a fun movie. Like you watch it, you're like, this is just fun. There's a few things that don't really land very well, and they're kind of odd, but for the most part, it's just like Samuel Jackson's got like a weird lisp, and he just happens to be a bad guy.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, it is. It's kind of laughable. It really is, but it is entertaining. It's not like I'm overwhelmed by the allure of it or anything of that nature. It's just, if I got some time to kill, I'll probably go see it.
Yeah.
And that brings us to
no.
Sorry, I was segueing there.
It's like a fun R-rated James Bond. It's having a good time.
Sure. But I can't stand that the guy's name is Eggsy.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't pick it. It bothers me too, but I keep thinking like Eggsy and bacon. Is that a
yeah? Was he born at 8:30 in the morning during breakfast?
Joe, I know someone who can help us. Heist Boots, if you are watching this, because she's from Britain, please tell me, is Eggsy a common name? Is it like a John or like a James? Like, are a lot of people called Eggsy, or is Eggsy kind of weird? Have you ever heard of it before? Like,
if it's a normal thing, we got to do something.
Like, they need to make a joke about putting him in a blanket. They're like, Eggsy in a blanket.
That's pigs in a blanket.
I'm sorry, Joe. I can't work with Eggsy. It's too hard. Anyway,
eggs, I like eggs. I just don't like it when they're a little undercooked. They get a little too eggsy. I don't know.
I suddenly feel better about my eggs in a blanket, Joe. Thank you so much, Joe. Made it better. Oh, Joe and I are such a common team. Oh.
His middle name is Benedict.
Cumberbatch is his last name. He would be good in those movies, actually. I could see Cumberbatch in there. I could see Cumberbatch in anything.
Either way, it looks like what's his name survived his ordeal.
Yes, which I was really concerned about.
It was a little depressing, right? Yeah, Colin Firth.
Yeah, it was depressing, and I remember thinking to me, he was the best part of that film. Spoiler alert, he gets shot. But and they talk about they were showing posters before of like his cracked glasses and saying like, stories of my death have been greatly over exaggerated and stuff like that. It's like good. I don't care how you bring him back, just keep him there, because like that fight scene in the last one is one of the coolest action sequences I've seen in a long time.
It's pretty intense. It actually has a Atomic Blonde kind of vibe, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well choreographed and edge of your seat. And just almost never ending.
I'm hoping, well choreographed. I'm hoping Atomic Blonde does that. And that's one thing, when we kind of compare things to like a John Wick, I'm hoping more and more people are trying to learn as actors how to fight, or directors are saying we're not going to do shaky cams or cut edits as much, because it's so much more fun and so much better to see your protagonist do something really cool because they know how to do it,
Yeah, the choreography and the fluidness and the detailed action really sits well with people. People see a movie like that because that's what they want.
Yeah, that's why you'd love the the prequel Star Wars, Joe, because like the choreography for those fight scenes is off the charts. Like, and it's not like shaky cam. Usually, it's just like, here you go, guys. This routine. And it's just perfect. It's just like, oh my gosh.
It's almost similar to like I know it's not a high top end, top of the pyramid film, but Hardcore Henry.
Oh, sure.
That was just like a constant action, kind of like fuel for the senses, just really cool. And it was rated R, and you could see the details, a lot of slow-mo stuff. I thought that was neat. Seems like we get a little bit of that in Atomic Blonde. Obviously in Kingsman we got it, just maybe a few tastes of it. But yeah, I think that sort of thing is catching on for this style of movie. And Charlize Theron, I mean, obviously that's a good grab as it is, and that'll bring people to the theater. But and James McAvoy tops it off with a little cherry. So
yeah, exactly. Where's our Wanted sequel? Anyway, probably will never happen. Quick update, Joe. Avatar 2 coming out December 21st, 2018. So that's probably why they didn't do Star Wars around that, Star Wars Episode 9, because Avatar has struck up a deal with Disney for Pandora being part of Animal Kingdom. So it's like Disney's kind of probably like, all right, like we want people to come and go see Avatar and come to Animal Kingdom to see Pandora and stuff.
Sure.
So they don't want to double down.
Judging by the way Avatar did in theaters last time at the box office, it might not be good to go up against it, because I'm sure it'll.
Well, it just doesn't make sense to have them in the same month, because not only that, but Star Wars, I think, hands down will, not that any one of those has beaten Avatar, I don't think necessarily by itself, but as a cultural phenomenon, like Avatar is nothing compared to Star Wars. And if Star Wars releases in May or something, it gives them more time to potentially open up the Star Wars lands, respectively, in Disneyland and Disney World, so that they can be like, hey, go see the movie and come see the new Star Wars stuff in our parks. So it's all just business, and I tip my hat to you, Disney. That's I'm proud of you. You already thought it through. You always think it through, Disney. Mickey, you got it. You got me. Anyway, Joe, moving on from Atomic Blonde. War of the Planet of the Apes or War for the Planet of the Apes. I know you've talked about in the past that you're not excited about it. You don't like apes.
I hate apes. I hate monkeys. I'm just not into it.
There's a difference. Bloody stupid monkeys.
I don't like being called a monkey. I'm an ape. Just like Winston on Overwatch.
Exactly. But they're pretty good films. The last two were actually pretty neat, and it's interesting that they don't keep the same human cast. They're always shifting it. But Caesar is always, it's kind of like Transformers in a way. Like they always have Optimus, like they always have Caesar. So yeah, I don't know. I think I might see it. I'm kind of excited for it, but I probably won't rush out. I just know it'll be a good film and make me even more terrified of chimps than I was before. Because
ugly little bastards, aren't they?
Well, the last time I saw one, Joe, at the very end of like the credits, they had like a bunch of just like chimp, like kind of like they're running around you noises, and I was like, we need to get out of this theater. It's like,
really?
Like,
freaked me out for sure.
No,
I remember reading articles about there was like like small zoos at parks that had chimpanzees or something, and one of them got loose and just freaking they ripped people to shreds.
Oh,
yeah.
I feel like we need an article. Like Joe, produce it. But
and
anyway,
if you need to put some underwear on, cover up your ass cheeks.
Yeah, jeez, come on, guys. I mean, we took you out of your home and put you in captivity. Put on some freaking clothes. Anyway, so like I said, we're kind of.
Hold on. I'm sorry, I gotta interrupt you. I just took a big sip of coffee, and when you kind of finished that, I realized how funny it actually was. I almost did a spit take.
Thank you. I've trained myself to tell jokes when people are drinking stuff because usually my jokes don't land, so I could get them there. So yeah, things are a lot funnier when you're and my ears are now full of blood. Fun fact. So Alien Covenant's coming up here next month, and we're gonna get really into that. But Joe and I are. Joe's excited about it. I'm excited about it. We talked about it recently. Pirates of the Caribbean. We've talked about it a ton. I know a lot of people are excited about it, and we'll talk about that in community feedback. But
yeah, I think online it's being touted as the most anticipated movie of the spring.
Okay, well, I guess it's at the tail end of spring, so
yeah, I almost classify anything from
summer.
April through September to be summer.
It's probably a quarterly thing, Joe, where it's like January through March is like, I don't know if that's still like winter
that's
into
first
spring.
Quarter, second quarter.
And well, some people too, because it's like November technically and December would be winter, but I think a lot of people see it as Memorial Day to Labor Day, so that it's like anything before Memorial Day isn't summer,
Yeah,
it's like
that's probably true, but Pirates, I think, gosh, that's going to be up there at the top of the pyramid. What else do we have that could possibly topple it over?
Well, nothing, right away. It's like Guardians comes out for us next week. But then it's wait till the end of the month, and then they'll put Pirates out there, and then that's when we start getting into some of these other things. Like Spidey's coming on down the line. That's in July, though. I forget.
Wonder Woman in June.
That I believe is correct. Transformers comes out on June 23rd. It's cool how they
my mom's birthday, and my birthday's the day before.
Wonder Woman comes out June 2nd, and Transformers comes out June 23rd. So, these guys are watching each other. Like, they don't have a lot of times where they land on the same day, and they're like, all right.
Yeah, so what Universal has Transformers.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers has DC.
Wonder Woman. Yes, that is correct. Anyway.
Warner Brothers, though, is tied with Universal, isn't it?
So that's interesting that you bring that up because, we obviously have like Harry Potter Land and stuff in Universal.
Yeah.
I don't exactly know how all that works with Warner Brothers. It's hard enough to understand the whole Disney, Marvel, Fox stuff. So I'm not exactly sure. I think they're different. I don't know if we'll see a Universal logo pop up before Wonder Woman. I'm pretty sure that won't happen. I'm looking at it right now.
So I gotta lay this on you. Here is an interesting tidbit of the business world.
Yes, hit me with it. I love interesting tidbits.
Warner Brothers is owned by Time Warner Inc., right? Time Warner Inc. is the world's third largest media conglomerate. Let's see.
Do we have number 2 and 1?
Number 2 and 1, Comcast and the Walt Disney Company.
Who's number 1?
Believe it or not, Comcast.
Really? But Comcast owns like Universal.
Okay. So, assets of Warner Brothers. Current assets: HBO, Turner Broadcasting System, Warner Bros. Entertainment Inc., Warner Bros. Pictures Group, Warner Bros. Television Group, Warner Bros. Home Entertainment Group. Let's see. Oh, you can jump into all these other things like assets that they sold, investments that they have. Now, one thing I wanted to draw attention to that I thought was interesting is that, wow, some of the sports stuff they have is unreal, like NBA stuff, NCAA, March Madness, NASCAR. Wow.
You're preaching to the wrong choir here, Joe. Nobody cares about that.
No, it's just interesting to see. I mean, they are big time. So they actually own, I think somehow they own Rotten Tomatoes. It's like anytime you ever see a Rotten Tomatoes review and it's of a Warner Brothers film, expect it to be a little bolstered.
Well, typically also Rotten Tomatoes is supposed to be an aggregate score. So if some people get angry at Rotten Tomatoes, it's like, well, they didn't like make that. Like it's just the critics all together. It's like they try to average it out, I think.
That's interesting, though, if you think about it. Like, go look at the Walt Disney Corporation and look at what they own. And you told me this one, Jimmy. They own freaking ESPN.
Yeah, they do. I've known that since I was a child.
Like, what the heck? Who would have thunk?
Yeah. That's the pony I back. I'm just like, all right, Disney, here you go. Here's my paychecks. Anyway, Joe, getting back to movies here, I'm talking Wonder Woman, I'm talking Transformers. I don't want to compare those two directly, but they're both coming out in June. Is there either one that you are kind of more interested in seeing? Because I know you're a pretty big DC fan. So is Wonder Woman just like, oh man, clearly I'd see a Wonder Woman, over Transformers?
Clearly I'm seeing Wonder Woman because it dives back into the history of her and there's a lot of potential there. Not to mention I like Gal Gadot playing that character. I mean, who doesn't like Gal Gadot? Anywho,
just kidding. I'm kidding. Gal, you're great. I just don't know if you can carry a whole movie by yourself. That's why they got Chris Pine, because I feel like her accent's going to be a little too thick the whole time. I'm just saying.
It's fine. The character she plays, it works. I don't need a good old American girl Wonder Woman.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's a little thick. So when she's giving her whole speech about truth and justice, it's just like, I'm just saying. Just because you look the part doesn't mean you are the part.
So, no, I'm excited for that one. A lot of potential there. I think, from the stuff I've seen, I really do think it's going to be neat and visually stunning. I think there's going to be a lot of good visuals in this one. Whether CGI or not, it just looks cool. The settings, etc. However, Transformers, here's the thing about Transformers. Transformers, over its course of history, has proven to me that you can't go in expecting it to be more than it is, similar to Fast and Furious.
Oh, yeah, good call, dude.
The first couple, especially the second one where they're kind of jumping locations like Egypt and whatever, what have you, that one I enjoyed. Shia LaBeouf, Megan Fox, fine. They fit within the stories okay. You understood why they were involved, even though, most people would have been like, screw this, I'm out, Now, then all of a sudden you get to the third one, and they're in what are they, in New York City or London? Or no, Sydney,
Chicago?
Australia? Is that where they are? Chicago?
The ending is in
and
Chicago.
He's dating Rosie Huntington-Whiteley.
Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, it's a little meh. And you got the whole fire truck guy. What was his name? The other Prime dude.
You're talking about Semper Fi Prime. No, his name was
Sentinel Prime.
Sentinel Prime. There it is. I almost got there.
And that whole thing was all right. Then they've come back and they've done the ones with Mark Wahlberg, right?
Only the one.
Yeah, well, so this next one coming out has him. So I like the villain. He's not even like a Decepticon or anything like that. It's not like the two factions. This guy's just kind of like a bounty hunter. I love like the scene where it's on the Texas highway and he's got the ship floating behind him and he's walking down the highway and his freaking head transforms into that cannon with the laser.
Oh yeah, Gunface. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, good old Gunface coming out.
We're talking about Extinction. You're not talking about you're not talking about Last Night, obviously.
No, I'm talking about Extinction. I like the vibe I got from it. It was kind of fun. Obviously, there's hokey, stupid stuff like the boyfriend in his rally car. Just got sponsored by Red Bull, man. Oh, yeah, she's the best stick in the game. I'm like, whoa. This is just a waste. It was stupid. But anywho, out of all this, the worst one I've watched is the one with Sentinel Prime. Overall, Transformers, is always good for A, explosions, B, cool cars, C, awesome robot fighting. Is there much more to be said? I think you can go to that and spend $12 and rest easy knowing that you're going to be entertained in some fashion. So it doesn't rank above Wonder Woman or come even close, but I will probably see it just for the sheer fact of I know it's going to be entertaining.
Sure. Yeah, I usually walk out of those with really high scores in my mind, but then when I think about it a little bit more, I'm like, Jimmy, that's like exactly. That movie is not a 9, but when I usually walk out
Yeah, when you actually apply your critical reviews thinking,
you
put the critical reviews cap on, you're like, never mind, no.
Yeah. You don't like the third one, but I absolutely love when they come back and Optimus is like, we kill them all. And I'm like, yeah, let's kill everyone.
Sure.
He's like punching dudes and stuff. I'm like,
yeah. You gotta love those like little comeback moments, which
good.
Kind of done in every movie. But anywho, I kind of, I don't know. Transformers is okay. It's good because you get these like cool CGI visuals. They're giant freaking robots that are unlike anything you've ever seen besides in this genre of films. Not genre is the wrong word, but the saga of films in the Transformers series. But there's value there with entertainment and the things you can do with them. I don't like if they start to get a little too hokey. Like I don't like the big ammunition tank kind of guy with the beard and the cigar.
The John Goodman robot.
The John Goodman robot.
Yeah.
Little off the beaten path, but I think it'll be worth a watch. I really will. I think I'll come out of there with high thoughts of it, but then you apply your critical reviews thinking style to it and you're like, yeah, but it's just a bunch of explosions and visual eye candy. That's about it.
Yeah, being objective when you think of a Transformers film really brings it down, and it gets you just back to where it probably should be. But when you walk out after a crazy long fun fight scene, you're like, well, that was pretty fun. That's good.
Yeah, I love the way, I almost like it more than Fast and Furious, but I like the way they feature vehicles. I think it's a lot of fun.
Sure, well,
as
the vehicles they're more powerful too in Transformers. Like when they introduce a car, typically in Fast and Furious, you just look at it and think, how much longer until it gets destroyed? Whereas in Transformers, that car is just its mode of transportation. So you're like, that guy's a scary Lamborghini man, and he can turn back into a Lamborghini. And
I love that Lamborghini Aventador.
I know you do. That's why I bring it up. But anyway, talking about these two in June, I feel like we skipped one that I really actually wanted your opinion on and a lot of people's opinion on, because I think it's going to be not a sleeper hit. I think it's just going to maybe kind of fly under the radar. Could be completely wrong. But Guy Ritchie's King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. For anyone unfamiliar with Guy Ritchie, he did Sherlock Holmes and stuff with Robert Downey Jr. Kind of that flair. But every time I see a trailer for this, Joe, I think I have honestly no idea what it's going to be like. It seems like it's very fantastical. I thought at first it was going to be tried to be realistic, but it's definitely.
What is it again? Sorry.
The new King Arthur.
Yeah. Oh.
With Charlie Hunnam and Jude Law.
Yeah, two pretty good actors, and Charlie Hunnam. people love him from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, was that Pacific Rim?
Pacific Rim, that's it's kind of Transformers-esque, good entertainment value, but a little.
Yeah, dude, that's so good. Again, Pacific Rim is a perfect example. I love Pacific Rim as a fan. As an objective person, it's like a 7, but the rest of it, I'm like, it's like a 10.
Barely a 7. Yeah. Barely.
Man, they're punching the big ribs, and he's got the sword.
Yeah.
Anyway, King Arthur though. I don't know what to think about it. I feel like the trailers are just a ton of fight scenes, and I don't know if that's the whole movie or if it's just like the ending thing. But there seems to be a lot of like kind of craziness and giant elephants, and I just don't.
I didn't see the giant elephants. Are we getting a little like Genghis Khan here?
We're getting a little like Return of the King. Like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about this movie. I don't know if I'm gonna rush out to see it. To be honest, this is one of those that if it popped up on Netflix, I'd say I'll give it a watch. But like to go out and see it,
I don't know. It might be good. I mean, there's some big names in there, and
sure, yeah,
I think I'm gonna wait until like the second weekend.
Sure. And if people really want to hear us talk about it, Joe, if you guys are like, we really want you to go see it, then just tell us, because I'm not opposed to seeing it then. It's just that personally, I wouldn't run off to see it like a Guardians or something else like that, where I'm like, oh, like I gotta see this. So, yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. And Charlie Hunnam's really come onto the scene lately, kind of being the leader of these big films. So
I think he's got a look and a vibe to him. I think he'll be good for this role. I really do.
Plus, yeah,
I hope they don't get too overly fantastical.
I think they're going to. I think the Excalibur makes him moving like everybody else in slow motion because he was kind of like, or maybe really fast because he was kind of attacking multiple dudes like really quickly. It's like, oh yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be all right. Let's wait and see here. I don't want to judge it too harshly yet because I love the idea of like medieval knights and stuff. I love that type of thing, that time period, etc. The what do they call that period again? The Renaissance? No, it was something else.
Medieval? Did you say that already?
Medieval Christianity.
Medieval Christianity.
Yeah. Anywho,
no, I don't know.
No, I'm trying to think of what
Greco-Roman.
Well, that's what I'm trying to think of.
Well, while you talk about that,
elevator music.
I was gonna say it kind of reminds me of 300. It seems like he has like a backstory similar to that. It's gonna be stylish, but Jude Law, I think it's good to have him there. Charlie Hunnam, when I think back to Pacific Rim, he was kind of part of weirdly like an ensemble cast when you start to think about it. But this one, I'm not sure if that's as much. But having Jude Law be your antagonist, I think is a really good call. And he's worked with Guy Ritchie before as Watson, he's my favorite Watson, I think, of all time, Jude Law's portrayal. So I just like seeing Jude Law because I think he's a freaking good actor. And sometimes I get him confused with, is it Paul Bettany, the guy who plays Jarvis? I keep thinking like, oh, Jude Law could have been Jarvis. He could be Jarvis.
Yeah.
Or Vision,
Yeah, Middle Ages, medieval period. Okay.
Yeah. Dark Ages. But yeah, so maybe we'll see it, Joe. I don't know. If we're really bored that weekend, if you're like, I'm going to go see it, I'll probably see it just so we can talk about it.
I got to admit, I'm interested.
Yeah, well, the last movie I saw that was kind of like this, was like The Great Wall, where it's kind of like, it's kind of historical, but it's really like fantastical.
No.
I'm just saying same genre, like same wheelhouse.
I know, but that one doesn't even make sense. I mean, what's a white guy doing in China?
I couldn't tell you. I saw the movie and I couldn't tell you. He was just there. He was a trader. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
Joe, the other one that kind of pops up here that I'm looking through this list right away is The Mummy, which we've talked about. We're excited about it.
Hype meter's up there for that one.
Comes out June 9th, and like a lot of people might ask, like, why are you so excited about this movie? I like the old ones, but I think this one's going to have a very different flavor to it, which is cool. And I really, really do like Tom Cruise. I don't think, and people were like, Jimmy, he's crazy. Okay, guess what? I'm guessing a lot of Hollywood actors are crazy, but they just don't show it like Tom does. But I beg you to find me one other actor who is as committed to portraying a character and doing the stunts, because there is no one else in Hollywood as well known as Tom Cruise that does the stuff he does. Like, it's incredible. Like, just watch any behind the scenes on any Mission Impossible. That guy is committed. He'll do whatever. Like, it's insane. And it's not CG. it's him out there. It's like, and you see like the producers and the director, they're all like, all right, well, I hope this freaking works, because if not, he's gonna be a deadpan. It's just like everyone's like, ooh, like the insurance agents are out there and they're like, I just love it. I love that dedication. And even though he might not be the most, I don't know, I'm not going to say that he's insane or anything like that, but I really like his performances, and I find him to be a compelling and likable actor, in all of the films that he's been in. So, I'm sure there's a few where he's bad, or like in Tropic Thunder, he's a weirdo, but typically for this type of thing, I think he's a good choice. Also, Jake Johnson from New Girl getting to be his sidekick. Jake Johnson's living my dream, Joe. He's in like Jurassic World, which we talked about. I would love to be in Jurassic World, but like he gets to be Tom Cruise's partner in The Mummy. Like that guy's getting he's landed some big roles for a person that's just like the comic relief in a comedy sitcom. Like it's like, yeah, actually you're an action star now. It's like Chris Pratt. Like they kind of did the same thing to him. They just are like, nope, you're gonna be like a big name star. So yeah, but Mummy Joe still hyped, right?
For sure. And I like the things he said about Tom Cruise. Good stuff.
Thank you. I have to defend him because I feel like I'm the only one who's gonna. Oh, Tom. I'd love to have Tom on the show, Joe. If I have to skip you one week because I'm like, Joe, I think Tom's gonna be on the show. You're like, you're crazy, and I'll be like, that's a good get right there, Tom Cruise. That would be so much fun. Yeah. That'd be like a 5-hour podcast. I'd be like, man, so what was it like being in the first Mission Impossible, and the second, and the third, and the fourth and the fifth? Anyway, Joe, are there any other summer movies? I'm kind of looking at this list. A lot of them we've already talked about or have seen so far. Nothing else really jumping out immediately.
So, Jimmy, I don't want to spoil anything for the viewers and listeners, but what do we got left for the show here? Because I might have a couple things I want to cover, and I don't want to drone on too long, just saying.
I think you should, if you want to talk about something, you talk about something.
All right, let me lay it on you here.
Yes.
All right. First of all, we've talked a lot about Alien Covenant. That one's on my list. Baywatch. Have we talked about Baywatch, this remake with Zac Efron and Dwayne Johnson, and I don't even know who the girl is, but anywho, I got to admit, it seems like everything The Rock's been in lately that isn't like Fast and Furious has been kind of comedic.
Yes, or it's tried to be.
Yeah. The Kevin Hart one that he did, Central Intelligence, whatever. Yeah, good for a little bit of a laugh, but kind of fell a little flat. But this Baywatch one, first of all, Zac Efron is not bad. Anything I've seen him in lately, he is actually pretty freaking good.
He's funny. He's very funny.
He's funny. He's kind of coming into his own. He's he got over his drug or alcohol problems, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I have no clue. I don't judge the guy. All the ladies love him. Good on him. I think he'd be a cool guy to hang out with. Needless to say, he kind of comes off – this movie just comes off very comical, and the two of them paired together looks like it's going to be fun. It might be a little corny, but it is kind of a little one-off of the original Baywatch series, right? So – it is what it is, but I think it might be worth a watch, honestly.
I was going to say, I think it is only in name. It's like 21 Jump Street, which I think it's the same directors as 21 Jump Street. What they're doing, Joe, is they're just making comedies with the name of a show that have a loose tie to it, because this is not going to be anything like the old Baywatch.
Sure. I think the most we'll get out of it is obviously... The most we'll get out of it is some girl running out of the water in slow motion. Yeah. And that'll probably be Zac Efron. No, I'm just kidding.
Gotcha, Zach. Big fan of the show.
Maybe it's geared towards the ladies. Maybe we're just going to get Dwayne Johnson and Zac Efron running slowly out of the water with water dripping off their bodies.
I think The Rock, though, or Dwayne Johnson and Zac Efron will have a fun back and forth. I think it'll be really good.
That's what I'm seeing. I mean, there is a trailer that's been out for it, and as I watch it, it really does seem kind of catchy.
Yeah, I've just been burned on comedies, but I think that'll be good. And Joe, I don't know if we actually mentioned this. We talked about Dwayne Johnson getting his own spinoff from Fast and Furious, but I think it's been confirmed it's going to be him and Jason Statham. So they're finally making the action movie that I want to see.
Oh my God.
All I care about. I'm like, those two are the best action stars. But if you get, not that you need Tom Cruise in there, but that like buddy cop movie, those two, That's great. Like,
we said it on the last podcast. It needed to happen, and here it is.
Yeah, hope sometimes, Joe, and
right
sometimes those hopes. Like, it's funny though, because again, if you think back to Jason Statham's character, he's killed a lot of innocent people, and The Rock is like, or Hobbs is very okay with it. But anyway, I think Baywatch will be pretty funny. I don't know if I'll run out to see it, but anyone who likes 21 Jump Street or 22 Jump Street, I think it's going to be just like that with just new people, new setting. That's all. So R-rated too, which is kind of interesting. So they'll probably get really into it. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So oh shoot, I'm having an internet issue.
That's okay. I will just sit here for a second and I won't.
The Beguiled,
I think.
Beguiled, Western with oh god, how am I forgetting his name right now?
Colin Farrell.
Thank you. I read the little synopsis about it, but all I saw was Western and something about Civil War time period, and finds himself in a Southern boarding school for all women. But something about they tend to his wounds, shelter him, and tensions rise and fighting ensues. It looks, and it's kind of touted as being creepy. So
Nicole Kidman, Kirsten Dunst, Colin Farrell.
Just saying, it's on my radar.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of ladies in this one. Not that I'm saying it's at a ladies' boarding house. I was looking at the IMDb, and it's just all for the Colin Farrell's like the only one for a bit, and then they have some others down the line. But you know me, Joe. I love a good period piece. I was thinking about that with Indiana Jones when you were talking about. I was like, that's why I love Indiana Jones so much. Is a period piece, kind of.
I mean, here's the thing: is that westerns capture my attention. There's something just good old boy cool about it, you know. And who didn't grow up playing Indians and cowboys and all that whole thing, you know? Nothing against Indians, but westerns are such a big deal, like the John Wayne or the Dirty Harry. I mean, that stuff was such a big deal and is still a classic. There's still classics today, and I like to see us, you know, utilize our technology and creativity in today's world to do these things and maybe bring them back into the popularity circle. But anywho, there's a long list of great movies coming out through 2017. It's going to be a good year. It really is. But so what I wanted to do, Jimmy, I talked about kind of what I wanted to. We need to pick a top 3 for the summer. Let's figure between Memorial Day and Labor Day. So Guardians of the Galaxy is out.
Okay.
Pirates of the Caribbean will count it because it falls on the weekend of Memorial Day. And then, through Labor Day. So Justice League is out, and some of these other ones. But what do you think? What's your top 3, top 2? What do you got?
So you said Pirates is in?
We'll count Pirates because it's on the weekend of Memorial Day.
Are we taking superhero films out of it?
So what, are you just going to go through, pick Wonder Woman and Spider-Man and...
I would have to. My hands would be tied on Spider-Man. I have to see it. But no. I'm gonna say for me personally, I'm gonna take superheroes out. You don't have to. But for me personally, Pirates, Mummy, easily those two. Oh man. See, if I had Spidey, I'd just say Spidey. But maybe. Joe, it's tough.
Okay, do one with superhero movies and one without.
Well, one with, I would do Spidey, and that would be my 3. But without, then I would have to say maybe War of the Planet of the Apes. I guess I'm more interested in that. Like Atomic Blonde still does. Oh, actually, no, I lied. Transformers. If Spidey's out, Transformers in. I'll throw Transformers in there.
Really?
Yeah, because I think what we talked about, Transformers is one of those movies you know what you're going to get. And it is one of the best way to see a Transformers film. It's kind of like the best way to see Star Wars. Exactly. Has to be in the theater. It's a movie. You gotta watch it. Yeah, it's just like Optimus doesn't look cooler on any screen than the silver screen. You're like, there you go, buddy. Like,
you're absolutely right. And yeah, that's the only way to see a Transformers movie. Any other way, you're just killing time. Yeah. And that brings us to
I'll say if you got to say yours first, then we can go right into that one because that's the next segment of the show.
All right, so I'm gonna do one with superhero movies and one without. Pirates of the Caribbean is immediately on the list for me. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah.
Alien Covenant I can't count because it comes out too soon.
Yeah,
but
I was thinking of that, Joe. You're gonna be like, "Why isn't Aliens on your list?" You're like,
but let's just say that one's on my list for the next month. So yeah, where was I? Pirates of the Caribbean. The Mummy. This is without superheroes.
It's gonna be the same list as mine.
Ooh, this is tough. This is tough.
The question is, Joe, are you more interested in like more Transformers like I was, or like, do you really want to see Baywatch?
To be honest, so I've picked Pirates and I've picked The Mummy. There are...
Or Atomic Blonde. You've been talking about that a lot tonight.
So here's what I've got on the dock that I'm really staring down right now. Atomic Blonde, Transformers, or King Arthur.
It's your call. I can't tell you what to do.
Oh my gosh, is my pick going to be the exact same as yours? I won't lie, Transformers, like, I'm looking at the movie poster right now and I'm thinking, man, it could be good. It could be fun.
I'm a trendsetter. Also, it has the same plot, I feel like, to like almost to Fate of the Furious. It's just like you got your leader who comes back, he's like, I have to stop all of you, and you're like, okay. As far as like family.
Why is Optimus turning on us? They got my child. So no superheroes. Atomic Blonde. It's done.
Okay, cool.
It's done. All right, now I'm going to do a pick with superheroes. We know what yours was. It was the same, only instead of Transformers, you got Spidey. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and it's not that I don't like Wonder Woman, and I don't think it'll be cool. It's just that I'm not as compelled to see that as I am with Spider-Man and Mummy and Pirates. Like those three, I'm just like, Spider-Man's going to beat Wonder Woman for me personally every time because I love Spidey.
Yeah, really, so if I was able to pick superheroes, obviously I'd splice in Wonder Woman.
Cool.
Spider-Man's up there, but you know I don't want to bump it in. But yeah, I would bump out Transformers for Wonder Woman.
Cool.
And I gotta tell you, close fourth would be Spider-Man. Obviously, if I was including superheroes. If I wasn't including superheroes, oh, I just had it. I'm screwing up my order now.
That's okay. That's all right. You say you're including superheroes, so Wonder Woman, Mummy, and
Pirates.
Pirates, yeah. Which technically
but
Pirates.
My first pick was Pirates, The Mummy, and Atomic Blonde, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then you said you switched out Wonder Woman for Atomic Blonde, I think. Yeah. Or Transformers if you didn't want that. But yeah, I feel like Pirates is almost a superhero film by this point. Like a lot of the guys that are like super powered.
Yeah. So on my list, I mean, if I had to pick some top fives or whatever, what have you, people should check out It Comes at Night. The movie poster is really interesting, and the title grabs you. And from what I'm seeing on articles talking about it, it sounds like it's going to, what's the word? It'll improve horror film's reputation. So I'm interested.
Cool.
I really am. I'm a fan of horror. I'm a fan of good horror. There isn't much out there now for that. But this seems, the trailer is pretty terrifying.
I'm not surprised. I probably won't watch it, otherwise I won't sleep for weeks. But usually
they don't show you too much.
Horror movies, there's just so many of them, and that's why the quality is so bad. But like once in a while, like Don't Breathe or something comes up, and people are like, this is amazing. Yeah, but again, I'm not, or thrillers. I kind of put that together. The horror movie I plan on watching is Transformers Last Night because the acting will be terrifying. I can guarantee you that. Gotcha, Mark. All right, Mark. You want to take? I got Tom. Tom's in my corner. I'll take Tom Cruise over Mark Wahlberg every day of the week. I'm just kidding, Mark.
Oh, yeah, he would have been good in Transformers.
I like
didn't Mark Wahlberg and his brother or something beat up some, was it a Jewish guy or something else?
This is like a really interesting accusation. Like you beat up some guy. He might have been.
No, I thought they did Time or something back in the days of Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch or whatever.
Maybe. I hope he wouldn't attack me nowadays. I'd just be like, I liked you in Shooter. And then he'd be like, anything else? I'd be like, I liked you in Shooter. Don't be Nathan Drake. I don't want to watch Uncharted, the movie. I already play it. It's called The Game. Anyway, throwing some shade at Mark. I'm sorry. If you're a big Mark Wahlberg fan, I apologize.
I mean, he's all right. I like him.
Joe, you know what? Forget the segue. Joe, what's the next segment of the show called?
Well, as I was saying, Transformers is one of those movies where if you got a weekend and there's some time on the board, you don't have much planned. You just wanna kill some time. You go see that, on a Saturday afternoon matinee or something, or maybe an evening date. Kill a little time. Which brings us to Timekillers.
That's right. It's time for Timekillers. That's the movies we've been watching, the games we've been playing, the TV shows we've been viewing, and the segues
we've been reading.
And the segues I've been trying to deal with. Somebody just keeps cutting me off. Somebody please send me some Cadbury eggs so I can eat some. So, because that was the joke last week. If you saw last week's, if you haven't seen last week's, you're gonna say like, "What the heck are you guys talking about?"
Yeah, they're like, "What the freaking heck is he talking about?" Every time I interrupt Jimmy, he's got to eat a Cadbury egg. So, needless to say, he's about 50 behind right now. So,
and I'm gonna be about 50 pounds overweight pretty shortly. Anyway, Joe, what have you been killing time with, pal?
I have been killing time with Ghost Recon, more Ghost Recon. Been playing quite a bit of that. What else? Have I watched anything lately? Not really. Kind of to the same tune of the past couple podcasts, I have been playing or watching a lot of Archer. There's something about it, like it makes me laugh. I love his nonchalance and complete and utter disregard for his own mortality.
Okay.
Like looking and talking and yelling at somebody, it almost comes off smart or intellectual and almost impressive as he's shooting behind them, shooting at a group of insurgents of some sort. And it's just, it's funny. It really is. Some of it is dumb humor, like Family Guy-esque. Other parts of it are a little more mature, but it's just fun. I enjoy the animation of it, and it appeals to me, and it's fun. And they put them in these different situations, all based around this whole spy agency type deal. And it's interesting. If you really pay attention, it's obviously based in history, like back in the, I don't know, early 80s, 70s, maybe earlier. So, because they do show a lot of classic cars and that sort of thing. And some of the things you see are outdated. The computers are old, that sort of thing. So, it's cool. It just is. I have a lot of fun watching it. So, yeah. I just killed some time talking about it, and I'm killing time watching it. So what do you got, Jimmy? What do you got for us?
Let's see. I got a bunch of stuff. First off, I will talk about my sister let me Rare Replay, which on Xbox One, you can play a bunch of old Rares games like Banjo-Kazooie, Tooie, Viva Pinata, Conker's Bad Fur Day, a bunch of older games. So I was kind of getting into that. The other day, I'm playing some Lego Marvel Superheroes, which is pretty fun. Just like Lego, but with Marvel characters. It's like the only way to get all of these Marvel characters in an open world game together right now, with like licensing problems kind of thrown out the window. It's like, it's all Lego, so it's not exactly the same. So you can have the Fantastic Four hanging out with the Avengers. Like that's a thing that happens in this game, which is cool. I watched a few episodes of the new Bill Nye Saves the World, kind of like his new show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there are moments in there that it feels like it's pretty pandering. Maybe it's just trying to describe things on a more elementary level, but sometimes it feels like, just on the few that I've seen, that it's talking down, but I think he's trying to tackle some pretty big issues to talk about them. And it is interesting. I'm not sure if I like how the show is set up, because it seems like it is hyper formulaic in that they do a little bit in the beginning, and then he sits down and talks to someone, and then they do like a little like on location with the person they talk to, or right after. And then they have like a panel that he goes and talks to for like a few minutes. There's like 3 people sitting there, and then they end with like some sort of kind of musical thing, or kind of like a fun like, go watch the next episode. So yeah, it's interesting. It's not exactly the same as the ones that you saw as a kid. Those ones I think are just still like really, really good, and they can really hold your attention, and they're just like fun, but they teach you things at the same time. This one, it seems like it's trying to inform as opposed to teach. And I think that's the point of the show. So anyway, and the last thing I want to talk about is I watched The Last Samurai. I think it's the 3rd time I've seen this film, but Michael Huber from the Easy Allies had kind of recommended it on one of his shows, and I was thinking about watching it, and it was like one of those things, Joe, where you like keep seeing a movie on Netflix or something, and you're like, I should really watch that, and then it was just like came up in real life, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I should probably like that's my sign to go watch this. And again, talking Tom Cruise, him and Ken Watanabe, man, that movie's great. It's one of my favorite period piece movies, and I think they both just knock it out of the park. If you've never seen it, it's on Netflix. Check it out. It's kind of like Pocahontas-y in that it's like the white man comes to save the people, but I'm not going to spoil it for you, but he kind of gets interjected into the life of these samurai whose way is dying out. It's 1876, and Japan's trying to move forward while this group of samurai are kind of attacking some of the industrialists who are kind of trying to get rid of the samurai altogether. So there's kind of an internal conflict, almost a civil war in Japan at this time. And this commander from the States gets kind of paid to go over there and kill all the samurai, but ends up getting kind of wounded and captured by them, and learning about their way of life, and that they're about discipline, compassion, and honor. And it's really, really cool. It just makes me want to go to Japan like really badly. I'm like, I'm coming. But yeah, it's a really good film. Very serious, but still kind of fun too. So yeah, it's really good. It's a good time. I would kind of put it in the same league as something kind of like if you like The Patriot, or if you like Tombstone, or other kind of historical kind of action movies or war movies. That's where it would fall in line. Or maybe something like Braveheart. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I've been killing time with, besides like Persona 5 and Frasier, which seem to just be eternal for me now. So that's.
Is that what you're doing when you ignore my calls? Huh?
Yeah, I'm watching Frasier reruns, baby, and I've got no remorse. I'm like, I love this. This is witty. Anyway, Joe, it's time to move into the best part of the show, which is community feedback and questions. I was waiting for you to cut me off, and that's why I screwed up. I thought for sure I'd have more time to say feedback, so I said feedback.
Well, Jimmy, I think we skipped over something. How about a little shout out to our sponsors?
Oh gosh.
201 Canada Dry Diet Ginger Ale, the crispiest and most fresh taste on earth.
I really am going to send this to one of them sometime. I'm really going to do it, and I really hope they send us like a crate, and I'll be like, I'm in a different state than this guy, so I'm going to have to ship this to you. Oh god. All right. So Joe, I asked the Legionnaires about what films they're most excited about seeing this summer, because I was kind of interested in hearing about it. Night Warrior, he says Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh,
for sure.
Yeah. Rough Night and City of Ghosts. Ghosts. I'm bad with my S's.
Where's the City of Ghost things, and why haven't I heard about it?
I don't know. It sounds pretty creepy. I was like, whoa. It's like, okay, cool.
Looking it up.
Cool. And then Anna also said Pirates of the Caribbean seems to be a theme I'm seeing here.
Oh, yeah. You almost got to rule out Pirates of the Caribbean. I think that's on everybody's list right now as the top one. But
weirdly enough, yeah, even though it's kind of had it's always been popular, but it's kind of had some middling stuff too, where it's like, okay, cool. You know, people are excited about it.
So I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. I want to explore the City of Ghosts. I don't think most people have heard about it.
Touch on it, please.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so. Oh, I have heard about this. So this documentary from Matthew Heineman goes behind enemy lines in Syria to follow the citizen journalist collective. Raqqa is being slaughtered silently as they attempt to expose the human rights violations by ISIS and fight the terrorist group's misinformation campaigns in their home country. A documentary about the happenings in Syria.
Whoa, that sounds really intense.
Yeah, 2017. It's rated a 9.1 out of 10. The tomato meter is at 100% on this from critics.
Is it out? Yeah, it's not out yet, right?
I don't believe so. Let me see. I'm trying to find the date for it. July 14th, 2017.
Okay. So it's got a lot of buzz going into it.
It does. It does. There's already reviews about it. I don't know if there was like some sort of press screening maybe already.
Yeah, maybe. And that's why they only have a few. That's maybe why it's at 100. Maybe a few people gave it that, and they're just like, well, we have 3 reviews or something like that.
Yeah, obviously because it's based on kind of current events and that sort of thing, and the way the political state is currently. I think a lot of these, I would guess, more eclectic, artsy reviewers or film goers are going to give it good reviews because that's just their mentality. Maybe somebody who's a little more hard-nosed wouldn't be as kind to it.
Yeah,
but I mean, they're saying a lot of good things, like it does justice to human rights and what's happening right now, and really portrays the brutality, leaving the viewer empathetic with a sense of sorrow. Yeah, current events to reality, horrified. Yeah, so apparently it's very, very true grit. But
sure.
Okay, I just wanted to know. At first, I thought it was a horror movie because of the name, but it's much more based on current events. Which, hey, good on it. That's interesting. So
yeah, I'm not sure what Rough Night is. Choice. Yeah, I don't know if Rough Night was like a comedy that I saw up there, Joe. I don't know if you know what that one is at all.
Rough Night. Who picked that one?
That was Night Warrior as well. He had all those 3 kind of mixed together.
Let's see, Rough Night movie 2017. Oh yeah, sure, with Scarlett Johansson, Kate McKinnon, Jillian Bell, and I don't even know, somebody, Zoe Kravitz. So some 5 best friends from college reunite 10 years later for a wild bachelorette weekend in Miami. Excuse me, got the ginger ale burps.
It happens to the best of us.
You can't fight them off. Their hard partying takes a hilariously dark turn when they accidentally kill a male stripper.
Oh my god!
The craziness of trying to, yes, I'll read more, cover it up, they're ultimately brought closer together when it matters most. Comes out this June. Music composed by Skrillex, Dominic Lewis. I just saw Skrillex in there. I had to read it.
Cool. Well, now that we know, I just kind of want to know I like to know what our Legionnaires are excited about and interested in. So please always let us know what you're most excited about going forward.
It's probably going to be a lot like Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm getting. Or what was that one with, oh God, what's her name? No, not Justin Timberlake. Ashton Kutcher's wife.
Mila Kunis, Bad Moms.
Mila Kunis, Bad Moms. There you go.
I did it. Yeah. Actually, that movie wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Scarlett Johansson looks like she's 10 years out of college here, like mid to late 30s, shorter hair. Yeah.
Isn't she mid to late 30s?
I'm sure.
Anyway, we're moving on. We're moving on to questions. Which coming from Night Warrior actually has a good question for us. He says, so guys, which video game would you want turned into a board game? And respectively, what board game turned into a movie? Now, we have had a few board games get turned into movies, but let's get to the first. Let's unpack that first one. Video game you want turned into a board game, Joe. What video game would you want turned into a board game?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't know. You got anything on the top of your mind that you would turn into a board game?
Well, they already have a Gears of War board game, which I think is kind of cool. I haven't really played it, but I would love to. Like Witcher would be good if they don't already have one. Overwatch, I don't know what you do with that. Is that like just a trivia game? Like, you just Trivial Pursuit Overwatch Edition?
Maybe. There could be some cool thing with like moving a payload, like a payload race of some sort. Like, sorry, only Overwatch Edition. I don't know.
You made a May joke. Good job.
Or maybe.
Hashtag Maze Bay.
Wow, that sounded really good for a second. You should get closer to your mic more often.
Fly me to the moon.
Hello.
Let me. See,
Hello?
now you've ruined it. Cut me off when I was singing a song. Dang it.
You're no Frank Sinatra, and you're definitely no Michael Bublé.
Anyway.
Yeah, where were we before we
video game turned
captivated by your beautiful voice?
Thanks. Video game turned into like a flattery gets me right back in. I'm like, yeah, thank you.
Just because I'm so into it and I like it a lot, let's go with some sort of Overwatch game. Maybe like some sort of Candyland payload race, or
cool,
or
Joe.
maybe a card game with the characters that go up against each other. Maybe elemental Pokemon type, like these guys have different attributes than those guys, and who wins in this battle. Or
I like it. That's a rock paper scissors type thing, and I love it. That's cool.
Yeah.
And then
otherwise, Ghost Recon.
Then we want a board game turned into a movie.
Board game turned into a movie.
All right,
Candyland for sure. It'd be like Alice in Wonderland on freaking acid.
I think the new Alice in Wonderland's like Alice in Wonderland on acid.
Yeah.
Of course, the first one makes over $1 billion. Tim Burton, guys, please stop seeing these movies. They won't make them if it doesn't print money. All right, like, really bothers me. Anyway,
Tim Burton, Nightmare Before Christmas,
which he didn't direct.
Who did the Nightmare Before Christmas?
It's like let's look this up because they're like, you don't know that. And it's like, that's actually quite true.
Was he not involved?
He was involved.
Yeah.
He was heavily involved. There we go. Henry Selick.
Either way, do you consider the Nightmare Before Christmas to be a classic?
Maybe. For stop motion, if it was just stop motion films, then yes. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't personally really like Nightmare Before Christmas. I do like the theme that they put on the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland for Nightmare Before Christmas stuff, because I only like Jack Skellington, and I feel like it's the only reason Hot Topic is still in existence is because of that. I'm sorry, it's so true. Like, it is the most like it's kind of edgy but not. It's kind of emo but it's okay. It's like I don't know how I feel about
I don't know. I literally got into it for the artistic vibe of it.
I can appreciate that because I feel like that or like a Robot Chicken, I would go insane if I had to do like a little. It's like beep, or take a.
Yeah, and I will say when I was younger and I watched that, it gave me nightmares horribly.
Oh, Oogie Boogie freaks me out.
Oh my god.
Big sack full of worms. Don't even get me started.
It still gets me a little bit.
But anyway, yeah, that's
board game into a video game.
Into a movie, and we've had a few, Joe. So Jumanji, we've had, and it's coming up again. We've also had Battleship, which it didn't do very well, but it had a fun little like Battleship moment in Battleship, which is kind of cool. Like they were tracing an alien ship, and they're like trying to figure out where it was going on like a grid, and I was like, oh, it's kind of fun. For me, it would be HeroScape, this new game that hopefully you guys will see coming up here in some videos later on. But it's just like basically all people from all walks of life and myth and like reality. It's like army men versus dragons versus samurai versus like angels and all this stuff. That'd be a great movie because I just want you to be thrown right into it, not knowing anything. It's like, why are all these people fighting? I think that'd be fun.
There are some cool tabletop games like that, and there's one that's like kind of monster tabletop game.
3 hours later.
I know there's probably endless ones.
Sure. I think you're probably
There's one in particular that I thought was cool where you design your own monsters. Like you get like a clay mold or baked plaster mold of a monster, and you have to paint it yourself.
Oh, that's cool.
Kingdom Death. Yeah.
Do you think it would make for a good movie?
Yeah, it'd be like all right, I give up. I don't play board games. I give up.
I know, that's okay. That's all right, pal. That's okay. We still love you. Something really funny happened with this last one, but from our friend Natalie, what the heck? on Twitter. She said, most heartbreaking character death. And unlike every other time where I usually send a bunch of questions to Joe and I just replied to all these with his name to tag him in it. And so I put like, so it made it seem like my response personally was like when Joe died. Like, that's the most heartbreaking character death. So we're getting things on Twitter like spoilers and like oh my God. Yeah, exactly. But Joe, from a movie, game, or anything like that, most heartbreaking character death, is there any that jumped to mind to you that you're like, man, that's pretty rough?
You go first.
Okay, easy. So I was thinking, it usually comes down to one of two franchises here, but even though it's technically not a death, I'm going to count it for the beginning of a death, and that's what I'm going to say in Fellowship. And it's not Boromir, which is also very, very good, very well done. But Gandalf.
I thought about that.
Gandalf dying and the beginning of the death of Gandalf the Grey, and not knowing when I was 11 that Gandalf would be coming back, was so... It shook me because I thought no one's gonna die here, and then he says "Fly, you fools," and falls off after the Balrog, and it's like, is he like he's got to be dead? And that death affects everyone immediately. They all go outside, and all the hobbits are like, "Oh my God, we've known this guy our whole lives, and he's just gone." Like Aragorn's like, "We got to go," and Boromir's like, "Give him a minute for pity's sake." And it's like, like that whole bit, and it was just so like, it's devastating because everything Frodo screams no, and there's all these arrows coming at him the whole time, and it's just like, it still shakes me up every time. So that's probably the one to me that's just the most heartbreaking, the beginning of that whole bit. So yeah, so Gandalf the Grey, if you count it, which I'm gonna, because after Fellowship I was like, I'm pretty sure he's dead. Like, he's got to be dead. So Joe, anything come to mind?
Oh yeah, I got one for you, Jimmy. I'm just trying to find one that's not going to make either of us tear up.
Too late. I'm already tearing up.
I got one for you.
Hit me with it.
I've got a few for you, actually.
One actually in a movie I just saw that I was just talking about. I'm not going to say who dies in it, but there's a moment where I was like, it hurts. It did hurt. You know what I'm talking about.
All right. Dude, there's some really good ones. All right. I'll save the best for last, so just hold on 1 secondo. The T-800 Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I'm totally kidding. That one doesn't even rank. All right. Bambi's mother.
Oh no.
Bambi.
No.
Worst death ever. Bring a tear to your eye. Am I right?
And off screen. And yeah, yep. I can't even deal with Bambi.
Hence why I don't hunt. All right. Next one. Jaws from the movie Jaws.
No. He just wanted to eat. Oh my gosh.
Han Solo in Star Wars The Force Awakens.
I wasn't affected by that, but I was sitting next to my mom, who used to be a pretty big Harrison Ford fan, and I didn't know this was going to happen, but when they walk out on that long little bridge, I leaned over and I was like, sorry, Mom. Like, nobody walks onto one of those against someone else and we're both fine, we're friends. So.
Yeah. All right. And here's the one that is actually my number one pick and first came to mind. Marley from Marley and Me.
No. That's real bad. Joe, I told you, I know I've told Joe the story. I think I have. I don't know if I've told the Legionnaires this. Somebody in one of my classes back in college decided to show just that scene in a presentation. So I had to watch it. I never wanted to see this movie because I knew about that, and I'm a dog lover, if anyone knows me, and I never wanted to see the scene. But they proceeded to show it to the entire class, and then I think we had to rate them on their performance of that afterwards. It was so hard to be objective, because I was like, that was garbage. You don't show that. Like, you don't show the end of any movie in a presentation, let alone one where a dog dies. Like, goodness. Freaking ridiculous. Oh, Joe.
Between Bambi's mom and Marley from Marley and Me, those are probably two of the roughest.
You know, there is one where Lassie goes over a waterfall, but then she comes back and the kid's in school and she's looking gorgeous. Like she comes back, she's like, "It's all right, I was in a waterfall. I thought she was dead." And I grew up with collies. That always gets me too. I was like, "Lassie, no!" Or like Homeward Bound. Oh, Joe, that's what it's Shadow. Dude, it's Shadow from Homeward Bound. The golden retriever Shadow. He's in the mud pit and he can't get out and he gives up and everyone thinks he's dead. That's the worst one. That is the absolute worst character death in a film. I'm putting my stamp on it.
Almost death. He doesn't die.
But you think he does. And they don't know. He doesn't show up until the very end.
Marley does die. Marley dies.
I'm sorry. It's too much. Shadow. Marley does die. That's true. But you can tell that they're just like, all right, it's like, tell the dog to just lay down for a bit. Like Shadow, you don't see him. He's off screen. And like all the kids are like, the dog and the cat are back. And they're like, where's Shadow? And then he comes over. Like a death that turns back into, it's like Gandalf the White. He comes back. I feel so, like the relief. It's so much relief. I'm sorry. I'm getting passionate. But you're probably right. Marley's probably the worst one. But Shadow in that mud pit, I'll never forget. I feel like
where were you on that day?
Also, I don't get how a lot of these movies are like, no animals were harmed. Who's deciding what's harmful to an animal? I know they send
who the hell stuck that dog in the mud pit?
I know, like I know that they do send people out there, but like they're like, hey, you know, like can we shove this German Shepherd into the water for this dog life movie? And the guy's like, that's fine, it's fine. You're like, no, don't do that. Yeah. Oh man, I'm sorry guys. I get passionate when it comes to animals. You can show me a bunch of humans dying, like Theoden dies, and that's pretty sad. But it's like, sorry, we're completely ruining Lord of the Rings.
There's something about a cute, just man's best friend.
Yeah.
Dog dying. We love our animals. Dogs are great. They really are.
You know, Babe is a stressful film because you get kind of connected to everybody, and then there's always the thought that Babe, his days are numbered. Like when they get close to Christmas, and they're like, "Oh, we'd love ham for like for Christmas or whatever," and it's like, "You're gonna kill the baby pig!" Like, and then they have duck instead, which is pretty rough. Babe asks a lot of questions.
Yeah, that's like a PETA slash vegan movement. Marketing ad right there.
Like, don't worry, your pig could train and it could be a border collie. If you want your pig to be a border collie, you could totally do it. Hugo Weaving was the voice, I think, of one of those border collies, Joe. Believe it or not. Crazy.
You know, what a freaking movie. I haven't seen that since I was a kid.
It's intense. It's still pretty good, but it's intense.
Yeah.
Anyway, last question here from Anna, one of our captains. It says, has there been a scene/character in a video game or movie that had a pretty major impact on your life and changed your perspective on the world? I was thinking about this, Joe.
Dominic Toretto from Fast and Furious.
Good job, Joe. You got me to really laugh there. That was a genuine. That's so good. That's so good.
Can you repeat the question?
The question is, has there been a scene or character in a video game or movie that had a pretty major impact on your life and changed your perspective on the world? Joe Lever says Dominic Toretto. Is that your final answer?
Oh, yeah, I go through life just trying to gain people's respect.
Joe, why live life a quarter mile at a time when you could live at a quarter
mile is 1,320 feet. I live my life 1,320 feet at a time.
What did she say in the movie? She's like, why live it that way when you can experience it that way or something? Like, it's like, okay.
I don't even know. I don't even know.
I'm guessing you were joking about Dominic Toretto.
No, I'm sticking with it. That's my pick, and I'm sticking to it.
Joe doesn't have friends; he has family.
Exactly.
So. Oh boy!
I think that is a compliment, Jimmy.
Thanks, pal. It doesn't feel good with Dominic Toretto being the thing right before it. It's not. It's not good. A scene. Man, or video game / or in a video game. So a scene or character. Man, When it came down to it, I really was thinking about this, and I really hate to just kind of always use this as my fallback, and I promise I won't all the time. I'm going to try my best not to anymore. But Samwise Gamgee, it was such a cool character, kind of the unsung hero of all Lord of the Rings, and kind of proving that if you don't give up on your friends or on a goal, that you can see it through earnestly. And I do think back to that a lot, that he wasn't like the main hero, but it's the only reason anything happened. And he had problems up until the very end. I mean, Frodo still goes nuts at the last possible second, and Sam's just like, no. He's like, we walked all the way here. Because that's what my first thing would be if I was like, what are you waiting for? But I think seeing that and that whole...
I would have pushed Frodo in.
Yeah, that whole sequence at the end there with him and then Aragorn turning around saying for Frodo and kind of like saying like, oh, that's his character's stuff. Like he knows what the goal is. Everyone knows what the goal is. Kind of seeing all these people want to give up their lives to affect the greater good in a way. I don't know. It's just a heart-touching scene and heart-touching characters. So I don't know. I love them. I love them all. Anyway, excellent questions. But if you do have a question or a topic or a little game Joe and I could play here on the podcast, all you have to do is tweet the hashtag Critical Podcast so we know where to get it. You can send that to us at any time. If you want to send it to me, you can send it to either at GoCritical, with a capital G, capital C, or just on my personal Twitter, which is just JimmyGood013. But if you have one specifically tailored to Joe and all of his Fast and Furious stuff, you could tweet at
Lever_627. That's Lever, just like Beaver, only with an L.
I'm so glad you started driving or like saying something, because Google Hangouts will only switch to you if you actually make a noise. So I saw Joe dancing in this little square here. I was thinking we're gonna be here for like 5 minutes. I'll be like, it's at Lever_627. Yeah, please feel free to tweet at us anytime with anything. If you want to see us cover like a certain genre or a certain, I should say, franchise or games or something like that, we love that type of thing because it kind of allows us on weeks when it's kind of a little bit like a lull in news and stuff like that to dig into that. So who knows? I want to thank some people first before we kind of get into our ending spiel completely. I want to thank. This is Dale. I mean, our theme music, it speaks for itself. It's too good. So check him out on SoundCloud. It's very good. And I want to thank a one and only Joran Evers from Jade Circle Art. If you like any of the stuff you see here and you want some of it done for yourself, just cool drawings of anything nerdy or amazing, just check him out at Jade Circle Art on Twitter. He's a great guy. If you like seeing Joe and myself play games, also, you can check us out on Twitch over at Twitch/Critical Reviews. You can check us out over there. They'll probably pop up on the screen over here. And it's pretty good stuff. If you have any, besides just Twitter questions, if you have any things you want to send us personally, you can always send it to our P.O. Box. We do have a fan mail open. I'll put it down in the description down below, but it's at 201, just James Good, Anoka, Minnesota. So just send it there, and then we'll get it. Maybe open it up on the stream or on like one of our podcasts here if you have anything that you want to see us talk about. If you want to send Joe some Diet Canada Dry, I'd have to send it to him afterwards, but it's the thought that counts, really.
Yeah, I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I do want to say this. Next week we will have something kind of big planned. I hope it all goes well, but look forward to it. I'm going to try to set some stuff up. I just really got to get a hold of Tom. He's elusive, but man, just airing out my laundry here. But look forward to that. I hope it's really cool. And who knows? Joe and I might be doing something special here pretty shortly. Who knows? I know. Joe knows. You might know. Who knows? But yeah. Joe, is there anything else you want to say to the Legionnaires before we sign off here?
Just remember, adapt and no. Oh, is that? How dare you?
I'm sorry. I passed out for a second. What happened? There's blood in my mouth.
Jimmy, I think we've covered about all of it. Everybody, thanks for listening and watching, and interact with us. Tweet at us. We want to hear it.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me, Joe. Thank you so much. For all the people who've been checking us out, thank you so much. Please share this around if you enjoyed it. If you're on iTunes, I'd love to hear if anyone's actually listening over there. If you'd like to leave us a good review, we'd love that as well. But the best way to support us is really just show us to a friend. Just spread us around. People might like it. You can always throw us $2 on PayPal if you want. None of that's necessary, but if you want to support the show, support us to keep doing this magical thing that we do. I don't know why I went to an accent there, because it's magical, but I did. You want to support that, fixing that, then that'd be great. But anyway, thank you, Joe. Thank you to everybody else who tuned in. And remember to adapt and overcome. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. It's my arm. Hurt my arm.